Good morning, I'm Ohan Patel and I'll be performing two contrasting pieces which differ in themes and period of writing. The first piece that I'm going to be performing is titled The Cherry Orchard, written by Anton Chekhov in the year 1904. This piece revolves around Yermolai Lopkin, the man who went from rags to riches. In this piece, he gets his prized piece of land, the cherry orchard, which he wins in an auction. This piece revolves around the themes of happiness, pride, and joy. I bought it! Wait a bit. Don't hurry me. My head's in a wall. I can't speak. When we got to the sale, Derek Knopf was already there. And Leonard Andrea had only 1,500 pounds. Derek Knopf bid 3,000 more than the mortgage right away. When I saw how things stood, I went for him and bid 4,000 more than the mortgage. Derek Knopf said 4,500. I said 5,500. He went up by 500, you see, and I went up by thousands. Well, it was soon over. I bid 9,000 more than the mortgage and I got it. And now the cherry orchard is mine! Mine! Heavens alive, just think of it. The cherry orchard is mine. Tell me that I'm drunk. Tell me that I'm off my head. Tell me that it's all a dream. Don't laugh at me. If only my father and my grandfather could rise from their graves and see the whole affair, how their Yermolai, their flogged and ignorant Yermolai, used to run about barefooted in winter. How this same Yermolai has bought a property that hasn't its equal for beauty anywhere in the whole world. I have bought the property where my father and my grandfather were slaves, where they weren't even allowed in the kitchen. I'm asleep. It's only a vision. It isn't real. It is the fruit of imagination, wrapped in the mists of ignorance. She's thrown down her keys. She wants to show that she's no longer mistress here. Well, what's the odds? Come everyone and see Yermolai Lopkin lay his axe to the cherry orchard. Come and see the trees fall down. We'll fill the place with villas. Our grandsons and our great-grandsons shall see a new life here. Strike up, music! The next piece that I am going to be performing is titled The Bold, the Young and the Moral, written by Don Zolidis in the year 2011. This piece revolves around Valencio, who speaks of his encounter with what he thought was a god. This piece revolves around the themes of betrayal and disloyalty. This piece differs from the previous piece as it was written in a different century and its themes differ from the previous one, which revolved around happiness, pride and joy. Do you want to know? Sit, and I will explain it to you. It began when I was 6. I was a little boy then. My family was poor, and our father dressed us up like monkeys and made us dance in the streets. But on my 6th birthday, he promised me something. He promised to take me to a place called the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, Florida. Oh, it sounded magical, mostly because it had the word magic in its name. So we saved all our coins, and I danced a little harder than ever before, and made my squeaking noises more realistic than ever. And we saved, and soon we had enough money in our savings. On our travels, my father made amusing sketches of tourists driving race cars, and after only 5 months we reached the magic land, Florida. Oh, how glorious it sounded to me then. The spires of the Blue Castle, the robot figures in the Hall of Presidents, the giant chipmunk in a dress. I was in heaven, and that's when I saw him. A giant rodent the size of my great uncle Suka. He looked like a god from mythology, made flesh, with saucers for ears, and a smile that could swallow the world. I followed that rodent. I would have followed him to the edge of the universe. But when he thought no one was looking, no one, he removed his own head. His head! He was no god. He was a pimply-faced teenager. Right then and there, I dedicated my life to evil. Later that night, I gathered a small group of street urchins. We ambushed the rodent as he was returning to the castle. He was large but clumsy. Our tiny fists raining blows of rage upon his battered body. When he lost consciousness, I tore off his head and held it aloft in triumph. My reign of terror had begun. I spent the next few days stealing purses from old ladies. I used the profits to gather a gang of Albanian dock workers. We held Snow White captive for days before they met our demands. $500,000 and a plane ticket to Italy. I left my father there to draw his sketches and dance his monkey dance. From then on, it was easy to become the overlord of the international crime syndicate. All because of that rodent. I shall now be performing a devised piece based on the character of Valencio from The Bold, the Young, and the Murdered. Father, do not be scared. Do not worry, for I have brought you here for a reason. To show you the great empire that I have built. I'm sure you remember me from when I was a little boy, a little 6-year-old boy, from when you took me to that wretched land of lies. I'm sure you searched for me after I ran away, but I knew you would never be able to find me, for my reign of terror had already begun. 54 years ago, there was a case of a missing rodent in America that I'm sure you knew. Well, guess what? That was me. It was all part of my master plan. Slowly, all the characters everyone adored went missing, one by one. Slowly yet surely, they all went missing. When I became the overlord of the international crime syndicate, I knew the more the better. So I went after Cinderella, Donald Duck, Snow White. I went after them all. One by one, they all went missing. You look shocked, scared, and disappointed. Well, I believe that I have done what was long overdue. I was tired of our poverty, your stupid little sketches and dances, so I decided to do something with my life. To go out and hunt all the characters everyone adored and form my gang. Anyways, years later, my empire began to crumble. One by one, all of my colleagues and members took their own paths in life. I realized I had enough money in my savings to live a relaxed life where people work at my will. So I decided to reunite with my old family again. I asked one of my workers to go to America and bring you back to Italy so you could know your little Valencio story. Your little Valencio story. Carry on. How is mother? I shall now be performing an improvisation based on the character of Valencio from The Bold, the Young and the Murdered on the topic of if one of your characters is accused of being involved in a nasty incident in the park, they are wrongly accused of being the ringleader, how do they feel? What the hell am I doing here? What the hell am I doing here? I've been sick all week. I couldn't have committed a single crime. Why am I at the police station out of all places? How could they have called me here? Coming. What is it? Why did you call me here? Me? I've been sick all week. I couldn't have committed a single crime. What was the crime? Robbing an old man in the park with my gang? I didn't do it. For the second time, I've been sick all week. You have no evidence to even put me behind in jail. It wasn't me. Who could it have been? Wait a minute. It was her, wasn't it? It was that sleeping beauty. What do you mean she is innocent? You may know Sleeping Beauty with her beautiful gowns and the way she sleeps in the park. But you do not know the real Sleeping Beauty that I know. I may be the overlord of the international crime syndicate. But she is the overlord of the international drug syndicate. All week long from my window I saw her committing petty little crimes like robbing old people with her gang. I didn't want to come here and tell on her because I thought you all would catch me instead. All she does with her gang all week was robbing those poor old people. I may have decapitated that rodent of its head and held Snow White captive for days. But you have to trust me, it was not me this time. What do you mean you're putting me in jail? Oh, I just confessed to my crimes, didn't I? Well, take me away, officer. Moving on to my reflection. The first question is, how successful do you think your performances were? What went well? Overall, I think I've performed very successfully. In my first piece, a particular amount of emotion was meant to be shown, otherwise my piece would not have gone well. In my second piece, I had to use an accent to enhance Valencio's persona as an evil, sinister, and stern man. In my improvisation, I believe I have met all of the necessary demands for my pieces. How did you employ your voice or body to show key moments or dramatic development in one of your pieces? In my second piece, I had to use a mysterious Eastern European accent to enhance Valencio's persona. He also spoke in a very stern tone. I also had to dress the part, wearing a hat, tying my hair, wearing a blazer, and wearing shoes. In Valencio's piece, in Valencio's piece, it also changes from horrific to vengeful throughout the piece. In the beginning, he speaks of his murders with quite a lot of surprise. However, after that, it becomes his norm, and he speaks of it with a lot of subtlety. Some of the key moments involve the last line, when Valencio said, "All because of that Rodent." Another key moment was when Valencio said, he removed his own head. His head. Those are some of the key moments and dramatic development in this piece. The last question is, how do the skills that you worked on for your performances affect your understanding of either a performed piece or stagecraft in general? I had to work on a lot of my stage dynamics for my pieces, which included imagining a setting around me, maintaining a 45-degree angle with the audience so I never turn my back towards them, my body movement and my body language as well. In my first piece, I had to move diagonally across the stage from the up right position to the up left position when Yamalai Locken said, "'Tis the fruit of imagination wrapped in the mists of ignorance." She's thrown down her keys. Those were the stagecraft that I worked on and I learned about. Thank you.